Welcome back to edition 2 of my Hot Mess Joy Club. Because sometimes if we don't laugh about it, we'll just cry. So we're going to just choose to laugh instead. And in the last few episodes, I've mentioned how we don't have to be perfect. We just have to be a little bit more courageous every day because adventure awaits. And y'all, I just want to tell you about a courageous moment I had last week before flying out here to record this podcast. And it was not a perfect moment. So I don't love clothes shopping. I don't know about you. And it's always been bad because I've always been really tall. And that essentially means absolutely nothing fits. It doesn't fit through the shoulders. It doesn't fit through the sleeve. It doesn't fit through anything in the pants. Like nothing fits my body. So clothes shopping for me is really trying on 10 items of clothing and feeling really horrible about how I look in 9 of those 10. So it's just depressing and miserable and pretty much like its own special kind of torture. But I hadn't bought a new pair of jeans for 3 years. So I owned one pair of jeans for 3 years, which means that my delightful, lovely thighs had rubbed holes in both of the thighs. And I know that like holes in pants is very trendy with all you young folks. Not there, apparently. Like that's the one spot where it's not trendy to have holes in your pants is on your inner thigh because your thighs have rubbed together too much. For some reason, that fashion has not caught on yet. But I'm coming out here, I'm going to be recording, so I'm like, okay, I just have to have like one pair of jeans. I have to have a pair of pants that will work. So I go to a store, and the sweetest, most adorable 19-year-old girl comes and is like my shopping attendant, which I need because I just need like another human being to get me through this horrible experience. So when I say we don't have to be perfect, this was not a perfect, it was not a perfect situation. And a little bit more courageous every day. For me, last week, courage looked like slowly and painfully explaining to this adorable, wonderful 19-year-old girl why all of the pants she was bringing me just wouldn't work on my amazing mom body. And I remember being 19 and it was fantastic. Like it was a great year to buy pants. But apparently after making 2 humans inside my body and then eating peanut butter sandwiches that were left over from 4 other additional humans, it's just a little different these days. So the end of it, she was like, did any of these work? And I wanted to say, sweetie, no, they didn't. But I then had to own up to the fact that the one pair of pants I was wearing into the store also had holes in the thighs. For YouTube people, I will show you my new awesome mom pants. And if you just listen to me on the podcast, we should probably hang out on YouTube as well. If I do quick moves, it's not as jarring to reality. Oh, and if you didn't know I was super tall, I'm like 6 feet. So I know I look like really normal as a torso perspective. But if you meet me in person, I feel like I've had to start announcing this more online because people meet me and with almost a look of horror, they're like, whoa, wow, you're a lot taller than you looked in your picture. And I'm like, thanks so much, I think. But their shock is a little jarring to me. So be warned. That was your warning. And speaking of it not being perfect, here's a story for the moms. And especially if you have multiple kids, maybe you can relate to this. I felt like when I just had 1 kiddo or 2 kiddos, I was super organized about all of their developmental milestones and where they should be at and just tracking their progress and like paying attention to all the things. And now at 5, I don't know if you've noticed this, but every once in a while, I totally miss something. Like I forget to teach one of them how to tie their shoes or like ride a bike. Just like those normal milestones, I'm not really paying attention. And one of them for one kiddo slips by. And I just had this realization last week when we were at my mom's house and my first grader grabs a book and starts reading. And I'm like, wait, she can read? Crap. And for a second, I literally thought, what grade is she in again? Oh, she's in first. And then I couldn't remember how well a first grader should be able to read. And I'm like, I don't feel like this is normal. But maybe my other kids were like kind of late readers. So maybe that was it. So my husband, the next day, we had parent teacher conferences and I was like, could you ask him about her reading? Like, is this like what normal first graders do? Because it feels a little much. And her teacher, sure enough, is like, wow, she's just such a great reader. And man, you guys must do so much at home. And my husband was like, yeah, we can't really take credit for that because I had completely forgotten to teach this kid how to read. I don't know. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if I was just like, yeah, that'll come soon. But in every reading time, like I just read and I had never like seen her read a full book until we were already after the fact. So it's one of those moments where you're like, I'm glad that she's doing well. And I totally dropped the ball and forgot to teach my child how to read. Thank goodness for public education and fantastic teachers. Big shout out to all of you because every once in a while when we got a whole bunch of kids, we just, it's hard to keep track of all the things all the time. And a couple things slip through the cracks. So if you're having a day that just kind of feels like a hot mess, welcome to the Hot Joy Club. And know that I'm serious. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be a little bit more courageous every day because adventure awaits.